I grew up in a little town tucked away in Virginia, the kind of place where everyone knows each other. It's a quiet spot, but there's one thing about it that gives folks the chills, a massive, abandoned asylum that looms over the town like a shadow. It's a hard place to ignore, perched on the hill like it's keeping an eye on everything below. That old building started out as a school back in the 1890s, but by 1911, it had already shut its doors after some grisly murders. Not long after, in 1916, it reopened as a psychiatric hospital, though it wasn't exactly a place anyone wanted to end up. Overcrowding was a constant issue, and neglect of patients became its dark reputation. They finally closed it down in 2003, and it's been sitting there ever since, falling apart, piece by piece. Now, if the twisted history of that place isn't enough to keep you away, maybe my story will do the trick. You see, just a few months ago, the building's new owners started advertising some kind of public paranormal investigation event. Flyers were plastered all over town, and the idea of it stirred up a lot of talk. I've always been a sucker for ghost stories and the supernatural, so the moment I heard about it, I thought it'd be an adventure. I ended up buying tickets for me and my girlfriend, Lisa, figuring it'd be the perfect mix of spooky and fun. Looking back, I wish I'd listened to the little voice in the back of my head telling me to steer clear. But you know how curiosity can get the best of you, especially when the unknown is calling your name. And this? This wasn't just any old ghost story. This was a chance to step into a piece of haunted history and see for myself if there was any truth to the whispers of the past. Around that time, I had just started a YouTube channel. Nothing fancy, just a little hobby I wanted to see grow. I figured this paranormal event would make for an incredible first video, something that would grab attention and maybe even go viral. But let me tell you, that video never made it to the channel. I ended up deleting it, and not because of technical issues. No, it was because every time I watched it, it brought back the nightmare of what I saw that night. It was like reliving a horror I couldn't escape. A couple of weeks after buying the tickets, the big night finally arrived. There I was, standing in front of the asylum with Lisa by my side, staring up at the beautifully broken facade. The place was eerie, sure, but there was something oddly mesmerizing about it too. I've always had this strange fascination with abandoned buildings, the way they seem to hold on to bits and pieces of their past, like secrets just waiting to be uncovered. The cracked windows, the ivy creeping up the walls, and the chipped paint all came together to tell a haunting story without saying a word. As we waited outside, I felt a mix of excitement and nerves. The air was cool, with just the slightest breeze brushing against my face, and the night sky was unusually dark, like even the stars were hiding from what was about to happen. When the guide finally led us inside the main area, the change was immediate and overwhelming. It was like stepping into another world, one that didn't want us there. The atmosphere wrapped itself around me, heavy and suffocating. It felt like someone had thrown 100-pound weight on my shoulders, and with every step, it got harder to breathe. The air wasn't just still, it was oppressive, like it was pressing in on me from all sides. I glanced at Lisa, and even she, usually calm and collected, looked unsettled. It was as if the walls themselves were alive, silently warning us to turn back while we still could. But we didn't. We kept going. I tried my best to shake off the uneasiness that had settled over me like a thick fog. I told myself it was just nerves, nothing more. So, I took a deep breath, tightened my grip on Lisa's hand, and followed the rest of the group as we made our way up the creaking stairway into the patient corridors. The dim lighting and peeling wallpaper made the hallway feel like it stretched on forever, each step echoing faintly in the silence. The tour guide's voice broke through the stillness as he began to share one of the building's many tragic stories. This one was about a young boy, just 10 years old, who had been admitted to the hospital back in the 1940s. As he spoke, I could almost picture the poor kid wandering these halls, lost and afraid. The guide explained that the boy's health had quickly deteriorated, and, despite the staff's so-called care, he passed away just weeks later. And then he died, the guide said, his words hanging in the air like a final note in a sad song. At that exact moment, a door to my left flew open with such violent force that it slammed against the wall behind it, sending chunks of drywall crashing to the floor. The sound was deafening, and the suddenness of it made my heart leap into my throat. Without thinking, I threw myself backward, colliding with Lisa, who grabbed onto me just as startled as I was. My pulse was racing so fast I could hear it pounding in my ears. The rest of the group froze, eyes wide with fear. For a moment, the only sound was the slow creak of the door as it settled against the wall, swaying slightly as if mocking us. I wanted to turn and run right then and there, but something inside me, maybe curiosity, maybe sheer stubbornness, urged me to stay. I convinced myself it was just the wind or some trick of old hinges, even though deep down, I knew better. Despite the growing pit of dread in my stomach, I decided to keep going. The tour eventually wrapped up without much more than the occasional strange noise or cold draft, which the guide eagerly pointed out as spiritual activity. But it was right after the group disbanded, as we stood in the lobby preparing to leave, that the real horror began. After the main tour ended, Lisa and I decided to split off from the group and join a handful of others for the investigation portion of the night. There were about 5 or 6 people with us as we headed down the narrow staircase leading to the basement. I'd heard plenty of stories about this part of the building. It was supposedly one of the most active spots when it came to paranormal activity. Naturally, I thought it'd be the perfect place to set up my camera and try to capture something extraordinary. The basement had a different feel altogether. The air was colder, heavier somehow, and it smelled faintly of mildew and something else I couldn't quite place. The dim, flickering light bulbs cast strange shadows on the walls, making every little movement seem bigger, more menacing. As we moved deeper into the corridor, Lisa and the others walked a few steps ahead, chatting quietly amongst themselves, their voices echoing softly off the damp walls. I lagged behind, my steps slow and hesitant. The further we went, the more my nerves started to fray. I kept thinking about the door upstairs and the unsettling weight I'd felt in those hallways. Part of me wasn't sure I wanted to be down here at all, but I pushed on, telling myself it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. And then it happened. Out of nowhere, I felt a distinct tug on the back of my shirt, firm enough to make me stop dead in my tracks. My breath caught in my throat, and before I could even process what was happening, I heard it, a harsh whisper, low and rasping, but unmistakable. Jenny. It said my name. My name. Every hair on my body stood on end, and a cold chill raced down my spine. I didn't dare turn around. I didn't want to see what was standing behind me, didn't want to know what could possibly be close enough to grab me like that. My mind raced with panic, and all I could think about was getting away. With a burst of adrenaline, I yanked myself free from whatever, or whoever, had hold of my shirt and bolted down the corridor, my footsteps echoing like gunshots in the confined space. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it might burst. When I reached the group, I skidded to a stop, gasping for air, my hands shaking uncontrollably. Lisa turned to me, her face full of concern, but I couldn't get the words out. I just stood there, staring back into the darkness behind me, half expecting to see something or someone emerge from the shadows. After a little while, Lisa and I decided to head to the morgue area of the basement. If any spot was bound to stir up activity, it had to be there. The air felt even colder in that part of the building, and the stillness was unsettling, like the walls were holding their breath. We carefully set up our camera on a tripod, pointing it toward a small wooden chair we'd placed in the center of the room. On the chair, I propped up a flashlight, hoping to use it for a basic communication method, something I'd seen done in countless paranormal investigations online. "Is there anyone here with us?" I called out, my voice shaky but steady enough. "If you're here, make this light turn off." The words had barely left my mouth when the flashlight flickered wildly, the beam of light flashing on and off as if in response. My breath caught in my chest. I glanced at Lisa, her wide eyes mirroring my own disbelief. For a split second, I felt a mix of awe and fear. This was what I'd come for, wasn't it? Proof of something beyond this world? But then it happened again. I felt it, a sharp tug on the back of my shirt, so strong that it nearly pulled me off balance. My blood ran cold, and before I could react, I heard it. That same voice from before, low and rasping, like it was being dragged through gravel. Jenny. It said my name again. And then, as if it knew I'd heard it, it repeated itself. Jenny. Jenny. Over and over, the voice hissed, each repetition digging deeper into my nerves. I froze, panic gripping me like a vice. My instinct was to run, but no matter how hard I tried to move, I couldn't. It was like I was rooted to the spot, held in place by an invisible force. Lisa! I screamed, my voice cracking with desperation. Go get help! Without hesitation, she bolted for the door, her footsteps echoing as she disappeared into the corridor. I was alone now, and the pressure on my back intensified. It felt like fire, scorching my skin, even though there was nothing there. I clenched my fists, trying to fight the urge that was building within me, the overwhelming, irrational compulsion to turn around and face whatever was behind me. The pain worsened, searing into me, and I could feel my resolve slipping. My mind screamed at me not to look, but my body begged for relief, as if somehow meeting its gaze would make it stop. Summoning every ounce of courage, or maybe just desperation, I turned to face whatever was behind me. The moment my eyes met its gaze, my breath caught, and the scream that had been tearing from my throat was silenced. Standing there was a tall, shadowy figure, its form barely defined, but its eyes, those glowing, maple-colored eyes, pierced through the darkness like twin embers. I froze, completely paralyzed. My body refused to move, like it was no longer my own. All I could do was stare as a sinister smile crept across its shadowy face, twisting into something that felt more malevolent with each passing second. There was no sound, no movement, just those eyes locking me in place, pulling me in like a magnet. I could feel myself being drawn toward it, helpless to resist. Time lost all meaning in that moment. It felt like I'd been standing there for hours, though deep down, I knew it could only have been a few minutes. My heart pounded in my chest, but my limbs wouldn't respond. The air around me seemed to thicken, and the world beyond those glowing eyes faded into nothingness. And then, like a lifeline, the door burst open. Lisa came rushing back in with a security guard trailing behind her, both of them frantic and out of breath. The instant they entered, the shadow figure's hold on me broke. I stumbled back, gasping for air as the figure dissolved into the darkness, disappearing as if it had never been there at all. Lisa was by my side in an instant, grabbing my arm and shaking me, trying to snap me out of whatever trance I was in. My body still felt heavy, like I was moving through water, but I let her and the guard collect our equipment as they pulled me toward the staircase. I could barely register what was happening. My mind was stuck on the figure, its eyes, and that awful smile. By the time we reached the parking lot, the cold night air hit me like a slap to the face, jolting me back to reality. As soon as I felt Lisa let go of my wrist, I collapsed onto the pavement, tears streaming down my face. I couldn't stop shaking, couldn't stop crying. The fear hit me all at once, crashing over me like a tidal wave. That was the scariest thing I've ever experienced, I whispered, barely able to get the words out. Lisa wrapped her arms around me, holding me tight as I broke down completely. The shadow of that night burned into my mind. A few days after that horrifying night, Lisa and I finally found the courage to sit down and review the footage from the camera. I wasn't sure if I even wanted to see what had been captured, but curiosity got the better of me. As we pressed play, the shaky video showed me standing in the morgue, flashlight flickering on the wooden chair, just as I remembered. Then came the part one dreaded the most. There I was, struggling, my body twisting and jerking as if I were fighting something. My arms flailed, my head snapped back, and I stumbled like I was locked in some kind of invisible battle. But in the footage, there was nothing. No shadowy figure. No glowing eyes. Just me, wrestling with thin air. We watched the clip in silence, our faces pale as the reality of it sank in. I couldn't look away, and yet I didn't want to see it. It was undeniable. I had been fighting something, but whatever it was, it wasn't visible to the camera. I could tell Lisa was just as shaken as I was, though she tried to put on a brave face. Even now, as I sit here reflecting on that night, I try to rationalize what happened. I tell myself it could have been an emotional breakdown, brought on by stress or exhaustion. Maybe my mind just couldn't handle the weight of everything I'd been experiencing. But deep down, I know the truth. Lisa and I both know it was far more than just stress. That thing, whatever it was, had been real. I could still feel its grip on my back, still hear my name in that awful whisper. Now, months later, the owners of the building have started advertising their annual Halloween haunted event. Flyers are everywhere, and people in town are buzzing with excitement. They've dressed it up as a fun scare, complete with actors and props, but I can't help but wonder if they know what truly lurks in that place. And here's the crazy part, I can feel it calling to me again. I catch myself staring at the flyers for far too long, the memory of those glowing eyes creeping back into my mind. It's like the building itself wants me to return, like it's holding a piece of me hostage. I know I shouldn't go back, but it's becoming harder and harder to fight the pull.